Good morning.
Look at that.
Yep.
Yummy.
Hi, and welcome to another Wogs World of Rex. I'm Polly Wogs, and welcome to the shop. Today we're going to continue working on the 1997 F250. The last time that we were working on that, we were painting the front axle. Oh, by the way, Naomi's in the shop today. I think she's going to be controlling more of the camera than she's going to be helping actually work, but hey, the camera is work. So, all right, so what we're doing is, like I said last time, we painted the front axle, and today we're going to continue with the axle parts. We have the parts here on the floor that we need to start cleaning up and getting ready to put back in the axle. So let's go ahead and get started on cleaning up these parts. All right, so what we have up here on the table to start with is we've got the steering knuckles, both the passenger and driver side. And what we're gonna have to do before we can clean these up is we've got to get the upper and lower ball joints out of both of them. In the video where you saw me disassemble the driver side part of the axle, I had already taken the clip off of the one. As you can see here, the clip is off, so I'd already removed that one in the video of that. So this one, we still have to take the clip off before these can be pressed out. Now also, with the way these are shaped, it's not going to be possible really to put these inside of a press. And so what they do is they actually make special tools that we're going to use to get these ball joints out. So at this time, let's go ahead and get this clip off. All right, so in order to get these ball joints out, what we have to use is what's called a ball joint service toolkit. And what you'd have is you have several different size cups, like this one here, and it just goes over the ball joint on the side where the threads are at. And then once you place that over that, then you use one of these top plates, which goes over the threads and sits in there, or sits on there just like that. And then you actually take the ball joint tool, put it over the cup, and then you tighten it up, and as you tighten this, it'll press the ball joint out. That's one. Time for number two. All right, well, now that the ball joints are out, the next step is to use the needle scaler on these parts to get the loose rust off. We've got the heavy rust knocked off of these steering knuckles, and they're ready to be degreased. And then once we do that, we'll be able to use the POR 15 on these and then paint these. But we still have some other parts that we want to get cleaned up as well, so we can paint them as a group. So we're going to move on to the next parts, which I think the next ones we're going to do are the spindles. All right, so I've got the camera mounted on a stand now. Naomi, she had to go inside and take care of a few things, so she won't be with us probably the rest of the day. But we're going to go ahead and continue on. So with what we're going to do next, we're going to go ahead and clean these spindles, and this is what gets mounted to those steering knuckles. for the front here. So let's go ahead and get started with these. Alright, so after cleaning up the spindles, what we want to do is there's also a bearing in here that needs to be replaced on both spindles, so we need to get this out. Now they do make a special tool for that, to pull that out. I do not have that special tool, but what else you can use is you just use something like a pry bar or anything that's got a bit of a curved here with a flat edge on it, and what you do is you can get that down in there and you get that on the edge of that bearing and you can just hammer it right out. All right, and there it is, along with the bearing seal. All right, well, off camera, I got the other bearing out of the other spindle and got those both taken care of, and those are gonna be ready to paint here really soon along with those steering knuckles. But I have another car that has come into the shop, a friend of mine's, that I'm gonna have to work on. So I'm gonna put it on hold here for a little bit for the truck, and we're gonna do that other vehicle. If the video's not out on that yet, it will be soon, and you'll be able to watch that video. But once I get done working on that car, I'm going to come back to the truck and continue on with what we're doing here with the front axle. All right, it is Wednesday, November 27th, the day before Thanksgiving. I am back out in the shop here working. I got my friend's car worked on a little bit. I had to end up ordering some parts for it. Those parts will be in soon, and when they get in, I'm going to continue work on that vehicle. But for now, we're going to go ahead and get back to the truck. I do have an apology to make. When I was working on the my friend's car, I broke my camera, and so I ended up having to use my telephone to do some of the footage for that, and also in waiting for another camera to get here because the phone didn't do so well with video recording. I ended up doing some things to the truck that I didn't get on video, but what I ended up doing is I ended up taking and painting the front brackets that we used to mount the front axle back in. And there's a couple here that I've already taken down, and so yeah, so we've got those all painted, but you know, not a major deal. We are back up and ready to go here with the truck and with the new camera here, and so today I'm going to work on getting that front axle mounted inside the truck. So let's get going. So we have both halves of the axle installed in the front end, and that was a little bit of a chore, since being that I'm only one set of hands instead of two sets. So that, you know, I had to put the bolt up in here to hold this in place since I didn't have the extra set of hands. But what we're going to have to be able to do next is we're going to have to set these up into place, which honestly, that's not going to be easy to do without some weight on the frame. So what we're going to end up probably doing next is taking the engine and mounting the engine up where it goes. And then that way we can let this thing down to some jack stands and get some weight in these areas here where we can get these bolts in here through the bushings. And then once we do that, we can assemble the rest of the axle, which is fine. It's kind of what I wanted to do anyways, was to try to get this engine mounted so I can start putting the engine back together while it's on the frame of the truck. So moving along really good here. The next part here, we're just going to go ahead and start working on getting that engine put in. All right, so next we're going to go ahead and get this oil pan all cleaned up and get it painted so it can be put on the bottom of the engine before we install it. Okay, so what I just removed was the insert for the oil dipstick tube where you check the oil level at. That's going to need a new seal put on it, and this is all going to need to be cleaned up before it's put back on. But more importantly, we got it off so we can get paint behind it. well, the product that I just used is called OSFO. It is a rust neutralizer and converts it kind of back to good metal. And you can see that product worked really well in cleaning the minor rust off of there and turning that metal shiny, ready for paint. Alright, before any of you start getting upset, this is a rubberized undercoating, and it says just use in a well-ventilated area. And of course I do have my vent turned on in my paint booth. That's the reason I'm not wearing a mask. It's not like a type of paint that requires a hardener or an activator to be mixed in. Those kind of paints, when you paint a car, those do require a special charcoal mask to wear in order to protect your lungs. But this is just a spray out of the can type of undercoating, and therefore it could be used in just a well-ventilated area. So again, I do have my vent turned on, so again, don't start panicking because I didn't have a mask on when I was painting the oil pan with this undercoating. All right, there's the first coat. And yes, this is a rubberized undercoating. It's not a paint. It's to kind of help protect this oil pan from rock chips and things like that. And as you can see, that turned out really good. That's just the first coat. We'll wait here a few minutes for this to flash, and then we'll do a second coat. All right, well there it is. Second coat of undercoating is put on the oil pan. And that's all we're going to do to it. That looks good. We'll wait for that to dry, and then we'll be able to mount that on the engine. There she is in her natural habitat, playing with her cars. All right, so after we got the engine mounted in the truck, we decided to go ahead and move on to getting the transmission cleaned up and getting it mounted in the truck as well. There still is not quite enough weight in the front of the truck to get the axle back up into place. So I'm hoping that if we get the transmission mounted, that'll add the extra weight that I need to try to lift that axle into place and get it put up in there. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to go ahead and work on getting the transmission all cleaned up and trying to get it reinstalled in the truck. So here we go.
clean this right on the table?
No, it don't have to be cleaned on the table. It can be cleaned anywhere.
Well, do you want me to throw a cleaner on it?
Yeah, you can do that. Pull that. That's just a magnet there. So if you want to pull that magnet out and just use a cloth to clean it off, because that's just metal shavings. That's just normal, because that's that's where the as the transmission ages, and wears down, that's where the stuff goes. So yeah, if you want to just, you can take it over there on that table if you want. Just move some of those blocks of wood out of your way. Huh?
You have gloves?
Yeah, right over there. There's rubber gloves there. And like I said, if you just want to clean that pan out, clean that magnet off, put the magnet back inside when you're done.
What do you want me to clean it with?
Well, just wipe it out. Literally, that should all just wipe out and clean up, and then.
I didn't know if you wanted like a cleaner in it.
No, you shouldn't need to do that. It should just wipe out, and then we'll take and we'll scuff this pan up, and we can paint it. So yeah, you want to just take it here, take it, make it, bake it. I didn't hear you say take it. Take it, Tom. Take it.
Take it, Tom.
It didn't sound like you said, I'd take it.
What did it sound like?
It sounded like you said naked.
Naked?
Or bacon. Naked bacon.
Okay, we've got the transmission disassembled as far as we're going to take it apart. We got the pan here all cleaned up and painted off camera. I had to order a new solenoid valve body for it. That's the reason I took the pan off to begin with, was to get down in here into where this unit is at. Alright, so this is the reason I took the solenoid body out. It's to replace it. The electrical connector on it had gotten melted from just extreme heat down underneath. There's a heat shield that blocks this, but the heat shield was kind of bent against it, so that did melt that. So instead of trying to get the connector and all the different solenoids to rebuild this, I just went ahead and got a new one to replace it. So we've got that to put back in, and then once we get that put in, we're going to go ahead and put the gasket in and put the pan back on it. I also have a filter here to change as well, to put a new filter in it. But once we get all that put back together, we're going to go ahead and then try to clean some of this road grime off of it and get it cleaned up, and then also primer and paint this transmission before we put it back in the truck. All right, what we just took out was the little tiny pin that holds this shaft in place. We still have to take the nut off here and then get the shaft out. And once we get the shaft out, there's a seal here that we're going to replace too. So that way we don't have any transmission fluid leaks here on the side of the transmission. But to get this pin out, I just used a 1/16 inch drill bit, drilled into it slightly. Once it started to bite, I was able to just pull out on it slightly to back it right out. All right, now that we have that out of there, we'll be able to pull the seal out of the top here and get that seal replaced. There we go. A little bit of a pain to get out, but we got it. All right, put a little bit of lubricant on the seal here so it slips in a little easy. We'll put a little bit here on the inside lip so that when we put the shaft back in, it'll go down in there nice and easy. All right, so we got the transmission pan put back on, and all that turned out really good. What we're going to do from here is we're just going to go ahead and start cleaning the outside of the transmission casing so that this can be primered and painted. I'm not going to worry about recording all of that. That's just a bunch of boring stuff, us cleaning this transmission housing and casing off. So we're going to get to that, and then we'll bring the camera back on when we're ready to paint it. All right, Esther, go ahead. Slow. Keep going.
It's pulling it.
Yeah, that's what we want to do. You gotta go higher.
It's getting kind of hard, but still, I can.
Keep coming. Keep coming. Esther, you want to let this down the rest of the way? I'll get this chain off.
Fast?
Yeah, that's fine. It's already down. That's good. Back it back up. Alright, well we got the transmission all primered up here. We'll let that cure for a little while. And then once that cures out, we'll give it a paint job. Alright, well there's the first coat of paint. That turned out pretty good. We're going to do 2 more coats of this orange to get this fully covered and uniform. That looks good so far. The flash time on this is about 15 minutes to 20 minutes. So we're going to wait here this little bit of time and then we'll come back and do another coat. Alright, well there's the second coat. That's looking better. It's covering real nice. In some of these areas though, where it's really deep down in here, it's hard to get the paint back up in there without getting runs on the outer parts. And so since it's underneath the truck, we're not super worried about getting way down into some of those cracks. All right, well there it is. Third and final coat. This would be much easier if I had a second set of hands. We'll see if I can get somebody to help me. Hang on a second. Yo, hey, you think you can come here for a second and give me a hand? Who, me? Yeah, you. Yep. Okay, thanks. He's coming. Hang on a second. What do you want me to do? Okay, I got it over here. You go ahead and put the bolt in over there. Okay. All right, there you go. All right, thanks for helping. All right, well, we have the cross member installed, which means now we can install the transmission. But I think we're going to call it the end for this video. And I think the next video, we're going to work on getting that transmission installed with hopefully a few other exciting things. So thanks for watching, and we hope to see you in the next video. Bye.